free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-269-3454.
Good afternoon. Still slow south of Nashville down in Columbia. I see the interstate running slow there on 65 south. You're headed down in that area towards Alabama. Give yourself extra time south of Nashville. It's still heavy over here right now as we check out 65 at Metro Center. See some showers moving through our area just in time for rush hour traffic. STR Towing and Recovery says, hey, if you need their help this weekend for a tow for a car, big truck, it doesn't matter. STR Towing and Recovery. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
This is Pastor Nikki Ajapong, lead pastor of Holy Hill Chapel.
Hear our sermons on WGNS Sunday night at 7:30.
Our sermons are loaded with the keys of the kingdom. If you don't have the keys, you'll be stranded.
Visit holyhillchapeltn.org to hear our podcast.
Rutherford weather.
Partly cloudy tonight with rain showers likely. Lows around 35. Daytime highs approaching 61. Tomorrow, ample sunshine expected. I'm WGNS meteorologist Derek Height. Currently 61.
We do it your way at Sir Pizza.
Your favorites can now be ordered online at sirpizzatn.com. Carryout and delivery are available. Just go to sirpizzatn.com and tap the location closest to you.
We're the Good Neighbor Network. FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro. FM 100.5 Smyrna. Audio and video streaming at WGNSradio.com.
This is the Blue Raider Podcast on WGNS, presented by Gold's Gym of Tennessee. It's your all-access pass to everything Middle Tennessee sports. Game recaps, player spotlights, and the latest from the heart of Blue Raider Nation. Now, here's your host, Jake Bolden.
Test. 1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome back to the Blue Raider Podcast, presented by Gold's Gym of Tennessee. Today's episode, we've got so much to go over in the last 2 weeks of Blue Raider basketball. If you haven't heard the news this week, Rick Insell retiring after 21 seasons at the helm. Also in that press release, Matt Insell is going to be the next head coach of the women's basketball program. So we've got a lot to talk about in that regard. And of course, the Lady Raiders are actually open up in the WNIT this week on Monday night against St. Bonaventure. And I haven't seen you in 2 weeks, so we have to talk about what happened in Huntsville for the men's basketball team, as well as we look ahead to the offseason upcoming. But before we get into today's episode, I need to thank our presenting sponsor, Gold's Gym of Tennessee. They have a new month-to-month pricing now that's available online only with no additional fees. The Gold membership is just $25 bi-weekly with a $40 enrollment, or you can even upgrade to the family plan for you and a significant other at $45 billed bi-weekly with only a $20 enrollment fee. That membership gives you access to all 16 Gold's Gyms locations across Tennessee, along with access to their group exercise classes and childcare. Again, all that's included with no hidden costs. So visit Gold's Gym of Tennessee online at goldsgym.com to learn more and find a location near you. And thanks again to Gold's Gym of Tennessee for sponsoring the Blue Raider podcast. And of course, if you're listening to us on our live stream right now, or you're listening to us via any of our podcasting outlets, Spotify, Apple iTunes, make sure you find us on our social medias at Blue Raider Pod. We're on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube at Blue Raider Pod, so you don't miss another one of our weekly uploads. Today's episode is pre-recorded, so if you plan to call into the show today, we are not available, but we look forward to catching us on those weekly uploads in the future. Again, we are every Friday from 5 to 6 p.m. on WGNS, so make sure you follow us so you don't miss any of those episodes. Now, in this week's news of all things Blue Raiders, there's so much to talk about. First and foremost, President Sidney McPhee announced that he will be retiring at the end of his contract, which is in December of this year. So the university is going to start the schedule that is of finding a new president. I'm not sure what the timeline looks like. I know for presidents and universities, it is a rather lengthy timeline, which is why he announced in March that he's not going to be returning at the end of December. Or maybe he does step into another role in the university. That's not abnormal for presidents to do. So it'll be intriguing what the university decides to do. I've always said when it comes to athletics, I always prefer my president to be, more on the academic side. They hire an athletic director who then carries all the weight of athletics. McPhee, as we all know as Blue Raider fans, has been very involved in the athletic department. He was an instrumental part in the other man that we're going to be talking about today and head coach Rick Insell and his retirement. But McPhee has done a lot of big things for the university, especially on the academic side. Obviously, he's been a part of this huge growth phase that MTSU has gone over in the last 20 years, part of the transition from Sunbelt into Conference USA. There's a lot to be thankful for McPhee and wish him his best as MTSU as a university looks to take the next steps. But I do not want to take any time away talking about the biggest news, which is that the Lady Raiders head basketball coach Rick Insell announced his retirement this week. He's going to be stepping down at the conclusion of the WNIT run that the ladies are currently on. Of course, their first matchup is going to be this Monday night against St. Bonaventure at 6:30. Obviously, still pull for this team while you still can. But Rick Insell, what a legend. And I don't know that I could even put into words what this guy has done for this women's basketball program. He is humble enough to say that he didn't build this, that this program was built before he got here. But I have to admit, what he has done is legendary, and there's nothing we can really put into words the level that he has taken this program to. And I know we've talked about the tiers of mid-majors, and we're seeing that now in March with March Madness, some of these names that consistently pop up year after year. But in Middle Tennessee and where Coach Insell has taken this program over the last 21 years is unmatched in mid-major college basketball. If you can't talk about mid-major basketball without mentioning Middle Tennessee in the same breath. And you could even take it a step further and say that this team has reached a standard that I don't think other mid-majors can even reach because of what he's done over these last 21 seasons. It's truly baffling. And so I took the time really this last week and a half just in preparation in the event that Rick does make this announcement. I think a lot of us knew that the 500 wins was a big goal for him this year, a milestone. And once he achieved that retirement started to the conversation started to creep back in. He had mentioned it a little bit after the 500th win against Liberty. Maybe I need to sit down and talk a little bit about what's to come. But 505 wins currently, as I'm recording this. They still have their matchup against St. Bonaventure this Monday. But he is the all-time winningest coach in program history, goes without saying. Over his 21 years, it's 21 consecutive postseason appearances, including 12 NCAA tournament berths, 7 WNIT berths, and last year was the first time that they made the WBIT, which is a new tournament altogether, but that's 21 consecutive postseason appearances. He has 10 conference regular season titles, 10 conference tournament titles. He has 7 All-Americans, 5 Conference Players of the Year, 5 WNBA draft picks. On top of that, again, the legendary status that is Rick Insell. He spent 28 seasons before he came to MTSU at Shelbyville Central, where he won 775 games, 10 state titles, and had 4 National Coach of the Year awards as part of being in many Hall of Fames, but most notably, he's a part of the Women's Basketball Hall of Fame, the Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, and most recently, Conference USA Hall of Fame, amongst, again, other Hall of Fame accolades. Researching this, someone who I lived through the Rick Insell era, as we all have, but I was a lot younger when Rick Insell was hired in 2005. I was 7 years old, but I sat in Murphy Center. I watched, arguably, I think I could say every single game. I'm sure I missed a few here or there, but watched every home game that Rick Insell had ever coached, even since I was 7 years old. And going through these years, just taking in what he accomplished, I don't think, again, I sat down and I started doing a year-by-year breakdown. How do I really want to approach this? How do I want to tackle this? The guy just did so much with so little in situations, and then there's other times where he just built an absolute machine that steamrolled a lot of teams. And the only way I really just know how to just highlight his career, because he would want this too, is to highlight the girls that came through here, highlight what this program has been since he got here in 2005. And so walk with me, if you will, through the years of Rick Insell. Got hired in 2005, wasted absolutely no time getting on the championship train, winning a Sun Belt tournament championship in his first year in 2006. He had Chrissy Givens on the team, who was on the roster prior to his arrival, but took that team to 20 wins, and she won Sun Belt Player of the Year, and then turned around in 2007, did the exact same thing, which is arguably the best team that he's ever had here in just his second season in coaching college. He got junior college All-American Amber Holt to join the team, took them all the way to the round of 32, and they finished the year at number 17th in the AP poll after winning a regular season and tournament championship in the Sun Belt, as well as winning 30 games that season and going a perfect 18-0 in the Sun Belt. Then fast forward with me to 2009, he wins his second regular season Sun Belt title, but his third Sun Belt tournament title, winning 28 games that year, going 17-1 in Conference USA, and that's also the introductory year of Alicia Clark. That is her junior season after transferring here from Belmont, and we all know Alicia Clark and her WNBA accolades that she is attained after leaving the program. Then the next year in 2010, they win another regular season and tournament title in the Sun Belt, winning 25 games, going again 17-1. The group collectively that he had compiled there: Ashley Clark, Brandy Brown, Jackie Pickle, Chelsea Lemon, and of course Anne-Marie Lanning, the lone junior on that squad. But more important, what I think is more impressive about what he's done in his first 5 years, aside from winning 4 tournament championships in 5 years in his first 5 seasons of coaching, but he only lost 10 conference games in his first 5 seasons. And even funny enough, it's going to take him 5 more years to lose 10 more. Again, this is a guy that came from the high school ranks and coached college. That just doesn't happen. I mean, imagine these conversations we would be having now if we didn't already have a high school coach in the ranks, or if we didn't already have Matt Insell in the ranks to be the next head coach, and we were searching for the next head coach, and we just up and decided to look in the high school ranks. I don't know that that is common practice. Obviously, that was 20 years ago. A lot has changed, but it's certainly of noting that Massaro, early in his tenure, took a risk on a guy like Rick Insell, and it paid off very, very quickly, and obviously sustained success over 20 years. Getting back into it, 2011 Sun Belt regular season champions. He had to replace 4 seniors from that 2010 team and took them to a regular season title, going 14-2. And most importantly, of note for that 2011 team, Ebony Rowe, that's her freshman year. And again, really eerily similar situation to what's happened in 2026, how history repeats itself. Again, I'll say that again. They had to replace 4 senior starters, and they brought in Ebony Rowe, who was the Sun Belt Freshman of the Year, 16 double-doubles that year. Does that remind you of anyone? Well, I will continue. 2012, another perfect Sun Belt season, going 16-0. Courtney Jones added 17 points per game to go along with Ebony Rowe, a dynamic duo there. 2013, another regular season and tournament title, winning 25 games. Then in 2014, it is the first year in Conference USA. They win a regular season and tournament championship, getting 29 wins, 15-1 in Conference USA. Finished 22 in the AP poll that year. We see the emergence of Ty Petty, Olivia Jones as their freshmen that year, and this also marks the end of a 6-year stretch of making the NCAA tournament. Then 2015, they get to 25 wins. They have WNBA top 5 draft pick Cheyenne Parker on the team, and this year where they go 14-4 in Conference USA marks just the 20th conference loss in the 10 years that Insell has been the coach at MTSU. Again, like, you can talk about the wins, but the fact that it took him that long to lose 10 games or 20 games is incredible. 2016 Conference USA Tournament champions, we see Alex Johnson, Jess LaRoe make their appearance as freshmen that year. Alex Johnson obviously was a key contributor to the championship in 2016, as well as a championship they have in 2019, the tournament runner-up they have in 2019 when they go 23-11. And then that's also the year where we see Jess LaRoe kind of pass the torch over to Riverdale alumni Alexis Whittington, and that's her freshman season. And this is where we start to see this real post-COVID dynasty again that we've seen as of late, where we get to the culmination of defeating Louisville all the way in 2024. But don't let me fast forward too fast, because in 2020 they have the shortened season. That's Courtney Whitson's first year. They go 13-5 in Conference USA. 2021 they finally break the 5-year drought of a championship, winning the Conference USA regular season and tournament championship with the addition of the Hayes sister. That shortened 2021, or excuse me, that was the 2020 season. 2021 was the year the Hayes sisters came. They went 17-8. The weird scheduling that year, 12-4 in Conference USA. Then in 2022, we have Boulder Rava, Jalen Gregory, their first year, and then we have a transfer from VCU named Ksenia Malashka, who will go on to be a WNBA draft pick for the Chicago Sky. But that year in 2022 is another year that I want to highlight as we look forward to what's coming up this week. That team with freshman Jalen Gregory, Anastasia Boulder-Rava, you have a junior transfer in Ksenia Malashka. That group made a WNIT Fab 4 run. You're primed for something very similar like that this year with so many freshmen. You've got Elena Contreras, who is a senior, but my understanding is she could get a fifth year, so you still have that junior mentality that Malashka had in 2022. This season just kind of feels like that 2022 team. But in 2023, that group that went to the Fab 4 in the WNIT ended up winning regular season and tournament championships, going 18-2, a top 25 AP poll finish, and that's also the year that they got Savannah Wheeler, and that group stuck it together and went a perfect in Conference USA in 2024, defeated Louisville in the round of 64 before losing to LSU in a very, very tough matchup there in the second round. And then that led us to last year in 2025 when that group of Jalen Gregory and Boulder Rava, Tamia Scott, getting a regular season championship, going 16-2 in Conference USA. I know that's a ton, but man, so much to unpack from that, and we certainly will when we come back into our next segment as we look ahead to what we have with the WNIT, but also who the next head coach for the Lady Raiders is going to be, and that is Matt Insel. So make sure you stick around for that after this short break, and you're listening to the Blue Raider Podcast presented by Gold's Gym of Tennessee.
Jennings & Ayers Funeral Home has served Murfreesboro families with compassion and care since 1880. As a family-owned funeral home, we're committed to honoring every life with dignity through traditional services, cremation options, and pre-planning that gives you peace of mind. For over 140 years, we've been here when it matters most. Visit JenningsandAyers.com. Jennings & Ayers Funeral Home, honoring life and comforting families since 1880.
Lace up your best kicks for a night of impact benefiting First Shot. Join us for the annual Sneaker Ball presented by Venture Express. Spend Sunday, April 26th with NFL Hall of Famer and Super Bowl MVP Marcus Allen. The event kicks off at 6 with a VIP meet and greet at 5. Reserve your table today. Call Coach Andy Herzer at 615-631-5312. We'll see you at the Sneaker Ball benefiting First Shot on April 26th.
Whether you need general vehicle upkeep and maintenance or a complete vehicle overhaul, Hall's Auto Care is here for you. We're locally owned and operated by Greg Hall and have been in business since 2014. You'll get excellent service and trustworthy advice with Hall's Auto Care. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. We're ready to help get you safely on the road. Hall's Auto Care, 907 Ridgely Road, just off Broad Street behind Chili's. Online at hallsautocare.net. Hall's Auto Care.
Looking for the best Blue Raider gear in town? Raider Tees has you covered. From stylish apparel and hats to unique MT-themed gifts and accessories, we've got everything a true Blue Raider fan needs. Whether you're headed to the game, shopping for a fellow fan, or just want to show off your Middle Tennessee pride, Raider Tees is the go-to spot. Stop by 111 East MTCS Road, right across from MTCS, and check out our unbeatable selection. Raider Tees, bigger, better, and go blue.
In Rutherford County, you know how much it means to have neighbors you can count on. I'm State Farm Agent Andy Wommel, here to help life go right when you combine home and auto insurance. Call me today at 615-890-0850 and let me save you money and time. Your home, your auto, together they're where life happens. I'm State Farm Agent Andy Wommel. It's smart to protect them together to help life go right. Give me a call at 615-890-0850 and let me help you save by combining your home and auto.
Clark Talks and Company will get you top dollar for your property. Auctions are easy, fast, and profitable.
Whether you're buying or selling a home or commercial property, the auction is just so much easier, quicker, smoother.
My wife and I sold our personal home. Parks Auction helped us with that. The house brought about 20% more than we were going to ask for.
Visit parksauction.com.
Parks Auction Company will get you top dollar for your property.
Parks Auction Company, committed to auction excellence.
Sold it to you, 27.5.
Good afternoon. Still struggling a bit north of town on 65 through Millersville. That's been on and off through that section of Sumner County. It's crawling right now as we check it out live. 65 north here at Rivergate Parkway, sometimes at a complete standstill. It's heavy as expected. 65 down into Brentwood, Franklin. Lots of radar. 24 out through Rutherford County. Hey, don't let a slipping transmission make things worse on your car or truck. Listen, if you got transmission problems, bring it to the experts at Amco Transmissions, located 1621 West Main Street in Lebanon. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
This is the Blue Raider Podcast, presented by Gold's Gym of Tennessee on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, 100.5 Smyrna, WGNSradio.com, and the Blue Raider Podcast YouTube channel. Now, back to your host, Jake Bolden.
Welcome back to the Blue Raider Podcast, presented by Gold's Gym of Tennessee. Middle Tennessee women's basketball was hit with some major news this last week, including the retirement of their head coach, Rick Insell, and also a bid to the WNIT, or they'll face St. Bonaventure on Monday in the second round at 6:30 p.m. at the Murphy Center. Make sure you're getting tickets there to support Coach Insell and his final ride here leading the Lady Raiders basketball program. But thanks for tuning in to another episode. If you're not already following us on our social medias, on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and of course YouTube, make sure you do so at Blue Raider Pod. We do our episodes every Friday. This week was a little bit different because of a scheduling conflict on my behalf, but we're doing our uploads like we always do on our Spotify and Apple Podcasts, so make sure you're subscribed there as well so you don't miss our re-uploads that we do on Saturday morning. But as we ended the last segment, we were talking about head coach Rick Insell and his retirement and the storied timeline that he put together here. I at the end there, I mentioned the 2022 group that included freshman Anastasia Boldareva and Jalen Gregory, along with a young Courtney Whitson, an older Alexis Whittington. That group in particular, and the junior transfer Ksenia Malashka, I also forgot. But that group in particular did a lot more than I think a lot of people had anticipated. They went all the way to the Fab Four, as they call it, in the WNIT that year before they lost to Seton Hall here at home. But that group was special, and playing in tournament games and tournament game settings like that are things that you just can't replicate anywhere else. So that's why I know some people may not be enthralled with the idea of being in the WNIT versus the WBIT, or obviously the NCAA tournament, but putting young players like we see with this Lady Raiders team with 4 starting freshmen and a potential returnee in Elena Contreras, putting them in tournament-like settings is only going to make this team grow. Only getting one game last week in Huntsville against Missouri State, which a heartbreaker that one was. You still want them to be able to replicate that, and there's nothing better than the WNIT for what the circumstances allow right now. So good on the university for bidding and getting into the WNIT, and I say more importantly, bidding to host, so a lot of people can partake in this final run that is with Coach Insell, and how exciting this run can be. Because I can remember 3 years ago, well, I guess it's 4 years ago, when that team made the run in the WNIT, and how much I wouldn't say enthusiasm and momentum, and in an era where the portal is something that mid-majors have to think about consistently, with the level of camaraderie that came out of that run, that group could not be unglued, and that felt as though that run in particular is what kept that team as a unit. And how we saw what happened in 2024 when they beat Louisville down in Baton Rouge and took an Elite Eight LSU team down to the wire, and even seeing what they did going 18-0 in Conference USA and then going 16-2 in that final year and winning a regular season title, it's stuff that I think they make movies about. But a run in the WNIT could do wonders for not only this program and who the new head coach is going to be in Matt Insel, but what it's going to do for these girls if they decide, and hopefully they all decide, to stick around. And that's something that Matt Insel in our preseason preview had touched on, is what this group and this core could really, really be if you give them another 4 years collectively together with a few additions potentially here or there. This group could go really, really far with their future. And so on that note, we'll preview the St. Bonaventure game here in a little bit, but Matt Insel, I think, is a big congratulations goes out to Matt Insel and him being hired as effectively at the end of the season to be the next head coach of the Lady Raiders basketball program, effectively taking the seat from his father. I don't think any of us were stunned by the news. After his stint at Ole Miss, he took the assistant coaching job here underneath his father, and then I believe it was 4 years ago he took the associate head coach position. So always waiting in the wing, I believe, but there's something that I think is comforting. We talk about Insel and all the success, very quick success he had here at MTSU, how easy, if that were in today's terms, how easy it would be for Coach Insel to be poached from one of the P4s, and how coveted that could potentially be for those schools to just pull him away. But for all these years, and I will say, for whatever reason, but I know head coach Rick Insel has his reasons as to why he wanted to stay at MTSU, because I'm certain that there were times where he was offered more money to go coach other places, but he always opted to stay here. And for that loyalty, I thank him. But that loyalty, I don't think has skipped over the next generation. I think Matt has a level of loyalty that I don't think Blue Raider fans have anything to necessarily be concerned with. Now, I'm speculating, and that's me as a fan, and it's wishful thinking, to say the least. But Matt is a great person. Obviously, a great X's and O coach. He's a great recruiter. That's this other side of this that I'm extremely excited to dive into in a little bit. But I think there's some solace for the fans to know that Matt Insel's the next head coach. You're going to have another just consistent person that is already understands what comes with this job, that understands the level of the standard that is Blue Raider basketball set forth by Rick Insel. So that part, I think, by Matt taking over the reins, it makes this transition so much easier for everybody. And same goes for the girls as far as the roster construction, that because Matt was a part of that recruiting story for all of these girls, that he already has that level of connection. So I don't want to get into offseason discussion as far as portal and what they want to do, because there's no reason to do that right now. This team is still on a run, and I think I just think it would be disingenuous to go ahead and bypass what these girls are doing, have done for this season, and look forward to what Matt does in the future. But more importantly, what they're going to do in their WNIT run this Monday night against St. Bonaventure. But back to Matt and what this team is going to do, or what this program looks like in the future. Matt is a great recruiter. I don't think, again, if you're a Blue Raider faithful, you don't need me to tell you that. Matt is a great recruiter, obviously a great X's and O coach. I don't know if he's more excited, though, about getting the head coaching job versus the fact that now he's allowed to stand up on the bench. He no longer has to worry about getting a technical. Probably the most get-back coach I've ever seen in Conference USA. He's passionate and certainly excited about that level of passion that he's going to bring to the game. But I don't think that this program's going to skip a beat. I really don't. I think with these pieces in place, he's already got two great transfers coming in, McLean Bobo, and then you have the McDonald's All-American selection finalist, and Aaliyah Blanchard coming from Hoover, who is also a state champion. So winning is in our blood. That's kind of the DNA of players that Matt has recruited over the last couple of years, is all these girls are winners. They know what it takes to win. And so this group that he has coming in looks great. He also has the Israeli guard, Mayan. Her last name is slipping me, but Mayan, excellent shooter, 15 points per game on an international circuit. I mean, you just don't find those type of girls. And recruited after in other places as well. I don't think it should go unnoticed that MTSU is highly competitive, not only for local talent, but also international talent. A lot of girls, the pipeline that Matt specifically has opened up overseas is funneling a lot of great talent here that people know that if you want to go to the next level, this is the place you want to be. We're talking about players like Savannah Wheeler and Anastasia Boldareva who are playing at the next level. It's not just pure coincidence that girls, when they come here, they make it to the next level. Ksenia Malashka, someone we talked about on that 2022-2023 team, was drafted in the WNBA recently. Cheyenne Parker, we've talked about Alicia Clark, Chrissy Givens. These are players that are in this program that have taken that step to the next level, and they know that this is a place that you're going to want to be because you're going to play here. I think that that's something that, as far as looking towards the future, I don't know that Rick was always the one calling the shots for minutes, but I like to think that with Matt recruiting a lot of these girls, he understands, I guess, the weight that is playing time. I'm sure that weighs on a lot of people's minds and how that's going to change over the years, but we saw that a lot this year at times. I know there were still games where we had 5 girls on the floor, and I mean, even in the semifinals, we only had 6 girls play, and the 6th one, Lynn went in because of a foul out from Kirsten Verhul. So some of those things might change, but I fully anticipate the recruiting scene as a whole is going to be hit really, really hard for Matt Insel. And so as we look forward to that time of the year, that's my favorite time of the year, really, outside of the season, because that's an area that Matt takes in high regard. Something that was, I know even Rick in the early days when you had to sit out a year for your transfer, Rick always found someone to transfer in. You're talking about Alicia Clark, someone that came in from Belmont. You've got players like that made the trip, willing to sit out the year to be a part of this. But in today's game, it is paramount that you subsidize some holes on your roster with the transfer portal. And Matt obviously does a great job with that. It has so far. Elena Contreras was a big part of that. And look forward to seeing what he can do this upcoming portal season. The staff as a whole, I anticipate it staying intact. I don't know what changes there. I'm sure in the coming weeks when the WNIT does round itself out and this run is over, you never really, you can't ever anticipate those things because, again, sometimes the run in and of itself can be the glue that keeps everyone together. So I like to think that, again, keeping it in the family is going to just keep this group together with Hodges, Kim Bruton, Nina Davis, Jalen Gregory as an assistant this year, Davis as the basketball operations. So I still think that this group collectively could stay together. You just keep the coaching staff, and if you find a way to convince all these girls to stay here this upcoming year, again, you've got something special brewing, and I think Matt is the right guy. I think it was an obvious choice, but Matt is the right guy to take those reins over and make a legacy of his own. I mean, he's still young. He's got a lot of coaching. If he's in there like his father, he's got a lot of coaching left in him. So I think that this is a great turning point for Rick to achieve the 505 wins and counting, hopefully, in his college career, over 1,200 in his entire coaching career, over 49 seasons. Truly admirable, but I think Matt's the perfect person to take the reins of this program and turn it into something else. But our final segment of today, we're going to get into that preview for the women's game against St. Bonaventure. That is this Monday night at 6:30 p.m. on ESPN+, so don't miss that after this short break. You are listening to the Blue Raider Podcast presented by Gold's Gym of Tennessee.
Hey folks, it's Chip Walters from Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, helping Middle Tennessee make smart moves in a fast-moving market. Whether you're buying, selling, or just exploring your options, you deserve someone who knows this community and treats your goals like their own. From first-timers to long-time homeowners, I'm here to guide you with clarity, confidence, and a steady hand. When you're ready to make the next move, start with someone you trust. Visit ChooseChip.net and let's make your 2026 move the right move.
Lace up your best kicks for a night of impact benefiting First Shot. Join us for the annual Sneaker Ball presented by Venture Express. Spend Sunday, April 26th with NFL Hall of Famer and Super Bowl MVP Marcus Allen. The event kicks off at 6 with a VIP meet and greet at 5. Reserve your table today. Call Coach Andy Herzer at 615-631-5312. We'll see you at the Sneaker Ball benefiting First Shot on April 26th.
When illness or injury turns everyday moments into uphill battles,
There are medical professionals who step in with skill, compassion, and unwavering dedication. My name is Joey P. I'm CEO of Murfreesboro Medical Clinic, and we are proud to highlight this month's MMC Heart for Healing recipient.
We recognize Dr. Sean Horwitz, a surgeon at MMC, whose reputation is built on as much his heart as it is his hands. Dr. Horwitz makes every patient feel like his priority. Whether performing complex robotic surgery or providing life-changing breast care, he combines elite technical precision with a rare, compassionate touch that truly defines him. Dr. Sean Horwitz, our MMC Heart for Healing.
If a doctor, nurse, or medical professional has made a difference in your life, tell WGNS. Help us recognize the medical heroes in our community by nominating them for the MMC Heart for Healing Award, and help us recognize the medical heroes in our community.
Next on All Sports Talk, it's the Blue Raider Insider Report with Chip Walters of Exit Realty, Bob Lamb & Associates.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Lady Raider basketball for the 25-26 season came to an end last night as the Blue Raiders fell to Cleveland State by a score of 66-56. The game marked the end of Rick Ensel's illustrious 20th season as head coach, concluding with 506 career wins. The Blue Raiders began the game slowly, trailing 12-3 before going on a 9-2 run that tied the game at 14 in the first quarter. By halftime, they had managed to reduce the deficit to 2 points with a score of 31-29. In the third quarter, Middle went on a 5-0 run, bringing the score to 42-38. But the Raiders could not get any closer, and in the end, Cleveland State was able to pull away. When it was all said and done, Coach Rick Ensel proud of what his ladies did during this season and during his career.
Players played hard. That zone gave us some problems, and we had a chance a time or two that we wasted a couple of possessions in crucial times. But their 11 just took over, and just what a player. She just flat put her team on her back, and we did all we could do. You know, Kirsten is our best perimeter defensive player, and she did everything she could do. And the kid was just a player. She made shots. That's all you can say. But so proud of the players that I've got. From the very get-go, I knew that this was going to be a tough year. I didn't know that all the other stuff that was going to take place off the floor was going to take place. They handled it like champions. And these two kids beside me here, God, what players! They're just players. I mean, they've got their upside is going to be unbelievable. And this is a big spring and a big summer for them. And I don't know anywhere else that they should be than right here at Middle Tennessee State University. When they leave here, they're going to have a degree, and they're going to have people that's going to want to hire them. Look at them. They're smart. They're athletic. They're attractive. They've got everything that you need to make it in the real world. Brains, know how to talk to people. I'm telling you right now, the upside for these two. I hope I'm around 20 years from now so I can see what's going on in their lives. But I'm so proud of them and proud of our other players that just played their back ends off all year for Middle Tennessee State.
It's a home weekend for Blue Raider baseball as Middle Tennessee returns to Reese Smith Field after a 4-game road trip for a Conference USA series against New Mexico State's Aggies. The Blue Raiders are looking to rebound in league play after dropping under the 500 mark last week at Missouri State. New Mexico State enters at 500 in Conference USA play after taking 2 of 3 from Louisiana Tech and picking up a win against Dallas Baptist. Notable non-conference results for the Aggies include going 1-3 against ranked opponents with a win over number 25 UTSA. Elsewhere in Conference USA this weekend, FIU is at Liberty, Kennesaw State at Delaware, Jack State at Louisiana Tech, Western Kentucky at Sam Houston, and Missouri State at Dallas Baptist. The Middle Tennessee-New Mexico State series begins at 5:45 on the air. First pitch at 6 o'clock tonight here on WGNS. Lady Raider softball on the road at Sam Houston for a 3-game series with the Bearcats. Also in Conference USA, Delaware at Liberty, UTEP at Kennesaw, Jack State at FIU, Missouri State at Louisiana Tech, and Western Kentucky at New Mexico State. That's it for today. Blue Raider baseball coming up here on the Big G, WGNS.
This has been All Sports Talk on WGNS and Big G TV, where we hit every level of the game from the preps to MTSU across Tennessee and the nation. Thanks for tuning in to All Sports Talk from the Good Neighbor Network.